First contact and misjudgment. The vast expanse of space had always called to humanity, a siren song of endless possibilities and untold wonders. For centuries, we had gazed at the stars, wondering if we were alone in the universe. In the year 2157, we finally got our answer. It was a crisp autumn morning when the first alien transmission reached Earth. The message, a complex series of mathematical equations and pulses, was initially detected by the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. Within hours, every major space agency and research institution on the planet was abuzz with activity. Dr. Ilara Chen, lead xenolinguist at NASA, worked tirelessly with her team to decipher the alien language. After weeks of intense study and countless sleepless nights, they made a breakthrough. The message was an invitation. The aliens, who called themselves the Zarkuli, wanted to meet. The United Nations hastily convened an emergency session to decide humanity's response. After heated debates and careful deliberation, a decision was reached. Humanity would accept the invitation, but with caution. A team of Earth's finest diplomats, scientists, and military personnel was assembled for the momentous first contact. The rendezvous point was set in neutral space, halfway between Earth and the edge of Zarkeli territory. Humanity's most advanced starship, the UNS Horizon, was chosen for the mission. As the ship prepared for launch, Captain Aria Torres stood on the bridge, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "All systems are go," Captain, her first officer, Commander Jack Chen, reported. Aria nodded, her voice steady as she gave the order. "Take us out, helm." Slow and steady, the Horizon glided out of Earth's orbit, its antimatter engines humming with power. As they accelerated to light speed, Aria couldn't help but feel the weight of history on her shoulders. They were about to change the course of human history forever. The journey took 3 weeks, during which the crew prepared extensively for every possible scenario. They studied the limited information they had on the Zarkali, practiced first contact protocols, and ran countless simulations. Finally, they arrived at the designated coordinates. The sight that greeted them took their breath away. A massive Zarkali ship hung in space before them, its sleek, crystalline structure glimmering against the backdrop of distant stars. "It's beautiful," Aria whispered, awe evident in her voice. As they approached, a transmission came through. The alien voice, translated through their advanced AI, was melodic yet alien. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We welcome you to this historic meeting." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The Zarkali invited a small delegation aboard their ship, and Aria led a team of 5 to meet their alien hosts. As they stepped onto the Zarkali vessel, they were struck by the alien architecture. Organic shapes blended seamlessly with advanced technology. The Zarkali themselves were a sight to behold. Tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes, they moved with a grace that seemed almost ethereal. Their leader, Supreme Coordinator Zilvax, greeted the human delegation with what appeared to be a gesture of respect. Initial exchanges were cordial, if somewhat stilted. Both sides were eager to learn about each other, sharing information about their respective cultures, technologies, and histories. The humans were particularly interested in the Zarkali's advanced faster-than-light travel capabilities, while the aliens seemed fascinated by Earth's biodiversity. However, as the talks progressed, subtle tensions began to emerge. The Zarkali, it seemed, had a fundamentally different way of viewing the universe. They believed in a strict hierarchy of species, with each race's place determined by their technological advancement and military might. Dr. Chen, who was part of the delegation, noticed the shift in the aliens' demeanor when they learned of Earth's relatively recent entry into space travel. "Captain," she whispered to Aria, "I think they're underestimating us." Aria nodded, having sensed the same thing. The Zarkali's questions had become more probing, their tone more condescending. They seemed particularly interested in Earth's defensive capabilities, a line of questioning that set off alarm bells in Aria's mind. As the first day of talks came to a close, Supreme Coordinator Zilvax made an announcement that sent a chill down Area's spine. "We have deliberated and reached a decision," the alien leader said, their multifaceted eyes gleaming. "We invite humanity to join the Galactic Concordat as a protectorate species." The terms of this protectorate status quickly became clear. Earth would gain access to some Zarkali technology and limited trade rights, but in return, they would have to submit to Zarkali rule. Any form of military expansion beyond Earth's immediate solar system would be strictly prohibited. Area's diplomatic training kicked in as she carefully chose her words. "Supreme Coordinator, while we appreciate your offer, such a decision cannot be made without consulting our government and people. We request time to relay this information back to Earth." Zilvax's expression was unreadable, but their tone carried a hint of warning. "Of course, Captain Torres. But understand this. The offer we have made is most generous. It would be unwise to refuse." As the human delegation returned to the horizon, a sense of unease settled over them. They had come seeking friendship among the stars, but instead found themselves facing a potential threat. Back on the horizon, Area immediately called a meeting with her senior staff. "Opinions, everyone?" she asked, her face grim. Commander Chen was the first to speak up. "It's a thinly veiled ultimatum, Captain. They're essentially asking us to surrender our sovereignty." Dr. Chen nodded in agreement. "Their society seems to be built on a principle of might makes right. They view us as primitive and therefore subservient." "But why?" Lieutenant Sura Okoro, the ship's tactical officer, asked. "Sure, their tech is more advanced, but we're not exactly defenseless. We've made significant strides in antimatter weaponry and shield technology." Area's eyes narrowed as a realization struck her. "They don't know that," she said slowly. "We've been so focused on learning about them, we've shared very little about our own military capabilities. They're basing their assessment on our level of space travel alone." A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. They were facing a critical moment in human history, and their next moves would determine humanity's place in the galaxy. "We need to buy time," Area decided. "We'll tell the Zarkali we need to consult with Earth. Meanwhile, we'll send a coded message back home, warning them of the situation." The next few days were tense. The Zarkali grew increasingly impatient as the humans delayed their response. Area did her best to maintain a diplomatic facade, but she could sense the aliens' growing frustration. On the 5th day, as Area was preparing for another round of talks, an urgent message came through from Earth. The UN Security Council had made its decision. Humanity would not accept protectorate status. They were prepared to negotiate as equals, but would not submit to alien rule. With a heavy heart, Area prepared to deliver this message to the Zarkali. She knew the risks, but she also knew that humanity could not start its journey among the stars on its knees. The meeting with Supreme Coordinator Zilvax was tense from the start. As Area delivered Earth's response, she could see the alien leader's posture stiffen. "You refuse our generous offer." Zilvax's voice was cold. "Perhaps we overestimated your species' intelligence." Area stood her ground. "We are grateful for the offer, Supreme Coordinator, but we cannot accept terms that compromise our sovereignty. We came here in peace, hoping to forge a friendship between our peoples. We still hope that is possible." Zilvax rose to their full height, towering over Area. "You misunderstand, human. This was not a negotiation. You have 2 standard rotations to reconsider your position. If you do not accept our terms by then, we will be forced to reassess our approach to your species." The threat was clear. Area and her team were quickly ushered off the Zarkali ship, the once cordial aliens now cold and dismissive. As soon as they were back on the horizon, Area sprang into action. "Send an emergency transmission to Earth," she ordered. "Inform them of the Zarkali's threat. We need to prepare for the worst." The next 48 hours were a flurry of activity. The horizon remained on high alert, its sensors constantly scanning for any sign of aggression from the Zarkali ship. On Earth, governments around the world mobilized their militaries, and emergency protocols were activated. As the deadline approached, tension on the horizon reached a fever pitch. Arya stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the looming form of the Zarkali ship. "Captain," Commander Chen's voice was tight with stress, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zarkali." Arya took a deep breath, steeling herself. "On screen," she ordered. Supreme Coordinator Zilvax's face appeared, their expression a mixture of disdain and disappointment. "Your time has expired, humans. Your refusal to accept our benevolent offer leaves us no choice. The Zarkali Empire hereby declares your species as hostile. You have one planetary rotation to surrender unconditionally, or face the consequences." As the transmission cut off, alarms blared across the horizon. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Lieutenant Okoro shouted, "Zarkali signatures. It's a war fleet, Captain." Arya's mind raced as she assessed their options. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but she knew humanity would not go down without a fight. "Red alert. Battle stations," she commanded, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her heart. "Helm, plot a course back to Earth. Maximum speed. We need to warn them." As the horizon's engines roared to life, Arya sent out one last transmission to the approaching Zarkali fleet. Her words would echo across the stars, marking the beginning of a conflict that would change the course of galactic history. "This is Captain Arya Torres of the UNS Horizon. You have gravely misunderstood humanity's resolve. We came in peace, but we will defend ourselves with all our might. You were warned. Never challenge human warships. The choice you make now will have consequences beyond your imagination." With that, the horizon shot into faster-than-light speed, racing back to Earth. Behind them, the Zarkali fleet gave chase, unaware that they were about to awaken a sleeping giant. Humanity's first interstellar war was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The human response. The UNS Horizon tore through space, pushing its engines to their limits as it raced back to Earth. Captain Arya Torres stood on the bridge, her face a mask of determination. They had to reach home before the Zarkali fleet, had to warn Earth of the impending invasion. "Status report," Arya barked, her eyes never leaving the main view screen. Commander Chen's fingers flew over his console. "We're maintaining maximum speed, Captain. At this rate, we should reach Earth in 72 hours. The Zarkali fleet is in pursuit, but they're falling behind. It seems our FTL technology is more advanced than they anticipated." Arya allowed herself a grim smile. It was a small advantage, but they needed every edge they could get. "Communications, send a priority alert to Earth. Use the quantum entanglement channel. They need to know what's coming." As the message was sent, Arya couldn't help but wonder how Earth would respond to this threat. The nations of the world had been growing closer in recent years, united by the common goal of space exploration, but old rivalries and mistrust still lingered. Would they be able to come together in the face of this alien menace? Back on Earth, the quantum entanglement communicator in the United Nations headquarters suddenly sprang to life. Secretary General Adaman Nkrumah was roused from his sleep, rushing to the emergency session called in response to the horizon's dire warning. As the leaders of the world's nations gathered, both in person and via secure holographic projections, a sense of disbelief and fear permeated the assembly. The Zarkali ultimatum was read aloud, followed by Captain Torres' defiant response. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the room erupted into chaos. Some leaders called for immediate surrender, hoping to avoid a war they believed they couldn't win. Others demanded aggressive action, insisting that humanity should strike first. Secretary General Nkrumah raised his hands, calling for order. "Ladies and gentlemen, please, we face the greatest threat in human history. This is not the time for division. We must stand united." Slowly, the noise died down. Nkrumah continued, his voice firm and resolute. We have 72 hours before the horizon returns, likely with a Tsar-Kuli war fleet in pursuit. We must use this time wisely. I propose an emergency global coalition. We must pool our resources, our technology, and our military might. Humanity must stand as one. Debates raged for hours, but as the reality of their situation sank in, a consensus began to form. Old enemies put aside their differences, recognizing that their petty conflicts paled in comparison to the threat they now faced. In a historic moment, the United Earth Defense Coalition was formed. Every nation pledged their military forces to a unified command structure. Scientists and engineers from around the world were ordered to share their most advanced, even secret technologies. As the politicians worked to organize Earth's defenses, the scientific community sprung into action. In research labs and secret facilities around the globe, humans worked tirelessly to upgrade their technology. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the room erupted into chaos. Some leaders called for immediate surrender, hoping to avoid a war they believed they couldn't win. Others demanded aggressive action, insisting that humanity should strike first. Secretary General Nkrumah raised his hands, calling for order. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we face the greatest threat in human history. This is not the time for division. We must stand united. Slowly, the noise died down. Nkrumah continued, his voice firm and resolute. We have 72 hours before the horizon returns, likely with a Tsar-Kuli war fleet in pursuit. We must use this time wisely. I propose an emergency global coalition. We must pool our resources, our technology, and our military might. Humanity must stand as one. Debates raged for hours, but as the reality of their situation sank in, a consensus began to form. Old enemies put aside their differences, recognizing that their petty conflicts paled in comparison to the threat they now faced. In a historic moment, the United Earth Defense Coalition was formed. Every nation pledged their military forces to a unified command structure. Scientists and engineers from around the world were ordered to share their most advanced, even secret, technologies. As the politicians worked to organize Earth's defenses, the scientific community sprung into action. In research labs and secret facilities around the globe, humans worked tirelessly to upgrade their technology. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of the Tokyo Institute of Advanced Physics, led a team working on improving humanity's shield technology. The Tsar-Kuli believe us to be technologically inferior, she told her team. Let's show them how quickly humans can innovate when pushed. In the United States, at the cutting-edge facilities of SpaceX, Elon Musk Jr., son of the famous entrepreneur, coordinated with NASA and other space agencies to rapidly upgrade Earth's fleet of warships. We need to think outside the box, he insisted. The Tsar-Kuli will be expecting conventional weapons. We need to surprise them. As the hours ticked by, a plan began to take shape. Earth's existing warships would be quickly retrofitted with the latest advancements. A small but powerful fleet would be assembled to defend the planet, incorporating technologies that the Tsar-Kuli wouldn't expect from a primitive species. In orbit, the lunar shipyards worked at full capacity. The skeletal frames of new warships took form at an astonishing pace, their designs incorporating the latest breakthroughs in human technology. Meanwhile, on Mars, the small human colony mobilized. Led by Governor Elena Rodriguez, they began preparing emergency shelters and defense systems. We may be far from Earth, Rodriguez announced to her people, but we are not forgotten. We will play our part in this fight. Back on Earth, as the deadline approached, Secretary General Nkrumah addressed the world. His holographic image was projected in city centers across the globe, his words translated into hundreds of languages. Citizens of Earth, he began, his voice steady and strong. We face a threat unlike any in our history. An alien force approaches, intent on subjugating our world, on stripping us of our freedom and dignity. They believe us weak, primitive, easy to conquer. They are wrong. He paused, his eyes seeming to meet those of every person watching. Throughout our history, humanity has faced countless challenges. We have weathered ice ages, survived plagues, overcome world wars. Each time, we have emerged stronger. We have gone from huddling in caves to walking on the moon in the blink of an eye, cosmically speaking. Our strength lies not in our technology, but in our spirit, our creativity, our unwavering determination. The Zarkeli have made a grave miscalculation. They see our relative youth as a spacefaring species and assume we are weak. They do not understand that this very youth is our strength. We are adaptable, innovative, unbound by centuries of rigid thinking. Where they see our differences as a weakness, we know that our diversity is our greatest asset. In the face of this threat, we have united as never before. Every nation, every people, standing as one. Our brightest minds are working tirelessly to upgrade our defenses. Our bravest soldiers prepare to defend our home. But this is not their fight alone. Every one of us has a role to play. To the Zarkeli, I say this: you have gravely underestimated humanity. We do not bow to threats. We do not surrender our freedom. We stand united, and we will fight. You were warned not to challenge human warships. You will soon learn why. To my fellow humans, I say, stand strong. Have faith. The road ahead will be difficult, but we will prevail. We are humanity. We have stared into the abyss before and did not blink. We will not falter now. Today, we fight not just for our own survival, but for our right to forge our own destiny among the stars. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. Today, we stand together, not as nations, but as Earth. As Nkrumah's speech concluded, a roar of determination and defiance echoed around the world. Humanity had been challenged, and it would answer that challenge with everything it had. In the final hours before the horizon's return, Earth's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The combined efforts of the world's greatest minds had yielded remarkable results. Dr. Tanaka's team had made a breakthrough in shield technology, developing a multiphasic defense system that could adapt to different types of energy weapons. It's not impenetrable, she warned, but it should give us a fighting chance. Elon Musk Jr. unveiled a new propulsion system that promised to make Earth's ships more maneuverable than ever before. The Zarkeli think they have us outgunned, he said with a grin. Let's see how they fare when they can't hit us. Perhaps the most significant development came from an unexpected source. Dr. Adebayo Okafor, a quantum physicist from Nigeria, had been working on an experimental weapons system. It's a risk, he admitted, but if it works, it could change everything. Okafor's invention was a quantum entanglement disruptor. In theory, it could interfere with the Zarkeli's faster-than-light communications, potentially throwing their fleet into disarray. It was hastily installed on Earth's flagship, the newly christened EDS Defiant. As the deadline approached, Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet took up position. It was a small force compared to what the Zarkeli were likely bringing, but every ship brimmed with human ingenuity and determination. Admiral Helena Vasquez, appointed as the supreme commander of Earth's unified military forces, stood on the bridge of the Defiant. She looked at her crew, a diverse mix of men and women from every corner of the globe, all united in purpose. "I won't lie to you," she said, her voice carrying across the ship's intercom. "We're in for the fight of our lives. The enemy outnumbers us, and on paper, they outgun us. But we have something they don't. We have the spirit of humanity behind us. Every person on Earth, every child, every parent, every dreamer and doer, they're all counting on us. We will not let them down." As if on cue, the ship's sensors lit up, multiple contacts dropping out of FTL. The sensor officer called out, "It's the horizon," and the Zarkeli fleet is right behind them. Admiral Vasquez straightened her uniform, her eyes hard with determination. "This is it, people. Battle stations. Let's show these aliens why they should never have challenged humanity." The horizon streaked past Earth's defensive line, its hull scorched from near misses. Behind it, the Zarkuli war fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel, their ships sleek and menacing against the backdrop of space. For a moment, everything was still. Then, a transmission cut through the silence. Supreme Coordinator Zilvax's face appeared on screens across Earth's fleet. "Humans," the alien's voice dripped with disdain, "your time has run out. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy. Resist, and we will reduce your cities to ash, your people to slaves. You cannot hope to stand against the might of the Zarkeli Empire." Admiral Vasquez stepped forward, her response ready. "Supreme Coordinator," she said, her voice level but filled with steel, "humanity rejects your ultimatum. We will not surrender. We will not submit. You were warned not to challenge human warships. Prepare to face the consequences of your arrogance." With that, she cut the transmission. Turning to her crew, Vasquez's lips curled into a determined smile. "All ships, this is Admiral Vasquez. You have your orders. Defend Earth at all costs. Show these aliens what humanity is made of. For Earth." The cry was taken up across the fleet. "For Earth." As the Zarkeli ships moved into attack formation, humanity's defenders braced themselves. Against all odds, they were ready to fight for their very existence. The battle that would decide the fate of Earth was about to begin. The Battle of New Terra. The vastness of space was shattered by the first salvo of the Zarkeli fleet. Streams of plasma fire lanced out towards Earth's defenders, their brilliant blue light illuminating the darkness. Admiral Helena Vasquez watched from the bridge of the EDS Defiant, her face set in grim determination. "Evasive maneuvers," she commanded. "Activate multiphasic shields." The human fleet scattered, ships moving with an agility that seemed to surprise the Zarkeli. Dr. Tanaka's shield technology sprang to life, shimmering barriers of energy deflecting the incoming fire. Several hits made it through, rocking Earth's ships, but the damage was far less than it should have been. "Return fire," Vasquez ordered. "All ships, engage at will." Earth's fleet responded with a fury that caught the Zarkeli off guard. Railguns spat hypersonic projectiles, while energy weapons of human design lashed out at the alien vessels. The battle was joined in earnest, the void of space lit up by the exchange of fire. On the Zarkeli flagship, Supreme Coordinator Zilvax watched in growing confusion and anger. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Their technology. It's far more advanced than our intelligence suggested." His subordinate, War Commander Krull, looked equally perplexed. "It appears the humans have made significant advancements in a very short time. Supreme Coordinator, their shields are proving problematic." Zilvax's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. No species could advance so quickly." "No matter. Overwhelm them with numbers. Show these primitives the true might of the Zarkeli Empire." Back on the Defiant, Admiral Vasquez was coordinating the human defense. Despite being outnumbered, Earth's ships were holding their own, their enhanced maneuverability allowing them to dance around the larger, slower Zarkeli vessels. "Admiral," her tactical officer called out, "the enemy is changing formation. They're trying to surround us." Vasquez nodded grimly. She had expected this. Implement Maneuver Theta. "Let's see how they handle our little surprise." Across the human fleet, a signal was sent. Ships began to move in what seemed like a chaotic pattern, but was in fact a carefully choreographed dance. As they moved, they deployed a cloud of what appeared to be debris. The Zarkeli fleet pressed their apparent advantage, closing in on the scattering human ships. Suddenly, the debris cloud came to life. Thousands of small automated drones activated, swarming the alien vessels. Some exploded in kamikaze attacks, while others latched onto hulls, using cutting beams to slice through armor. Chaos erupted in the Zarkeli fleet. Ships veered wildly, trying to shake off the swarms of drones. Their tight formation broke apart, creating gaps that the human ships were quick to exploit. "Now," Vasquez commanded, "all ships, Concentrate fire on designated targets. The human fleet struck as one, their weapons finding weak points in the Zarkeli defenses. Several alien ships erupted in spectacular explosions, their reactor cores breached. On the Zarkeli flagship, alarms blared. War Commander Krull's voice was tight with stress as he reported, "Supreme Coordinator, we've lost 5 capital ships. The humans, they're using tactics we've never encountered before." Zilvax's face contorted with rage. "Impossible. They are primitives. How dare they challenge us like this?" He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to our reserve fleet. We need reinforcements." But as the officer attempted to comply, he was met with only static. "Supreme Coordinator," he said, his voice quavering, "our long-range communications are being jammed. We can't reach the reserve fleet." In that moment, Dr. Okafor's quantum entanglement disruptor was proving its worth. The device, hastily installed on the Defiant, was interfering with the Zarkeli's faster-than-light communications, cutting them off from potential reinforcements. The battle raged on, with neither side willing to give ground. Earth's ships, despite their technological advancements, were taking damage. The sheer number of Zarkeli vessels was beginning to tell. On the Defiant's bridge, Admiral Vasquez received a grim report. "Admiral, we've lost the Intrepid and the Valor. The Zarkeli are starting to break through our lines." Vasquez's mind raced. They needed to end this quickly, before attrition wore them down. Her eyes fell on a tactical display of the Zarkeli fleet. There in the center was their command ship. An idea formed. "All ships, this is Admiral Vasquez. Implement Operation Spearhead." I repeat, Operation Spearhead. Across the human fleet, commanders acknowledged the order. It was a risky plan, one that could cost them dearly, but if it worked, the human fleet's formation changed dramatically. Most of the ships pulled back, creating what appeared to be a retreat. The Zarkeli, sensing victory, pressed forward eagerly. But it was a trap. As the alien fleet advanced, they didn't notice a small group of human ships slipping around their flank. Led by the Defiant, this strike force had one target: the Zarkeli flagship. "All power to engines and forward shields," Vasquez ordered. "Weapons, prepare to fire on my mark." The Defiant and its escorts shot forward, accelerating to speeds that seemed to catch the Zarkeli completely off guard. They pierced through the alien formation like a knife, smaller ships running interference and drawing fire away from the Defiant. Alarms blared on the Zarkeli flagship as they realized the humans' intent. "Evasive maneuvers," Zilvax screamed. "Stop them." But it was too late. The Defiant was upon them, its weapons primed and ready. "Fire everything," Vasquez commanded. The Defiant unleashed its full arsenal. Railguns pounded the Zarkeli flagship shields, while energy weapons sought out weak points. Missiles streaked forward, their warheads designed to penetrate the alien armor. The Zarkeli flagship shuddered under the assault. Its shields flickered and failed, and explosions blossomed across its hull. On its bridge, consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Supreme Coordinator Zilvax was thrown to the ground, his eyes wide with disbelief. "How?" he gasped. "How is this possible?" The Defiant didn't let up, continuing to pour fire into the stricken Zarkeli vessel. Other human ships joined in, concentrating their attack on the alien command ship. Finally, with a series of spectacular explosions, the Zarkeli flagship broke apart. The symbol of their imperial might was reduced to scattered debris in the cold vacuum of space. A cheer went up across the human fleet. "We did it," someone shouted on the Defiant's bridge. "Their flagship is down." But Admiral Vasquez knew the battle wasn't over yet. "Stay focused," she ordered. "We've struck a blow, but there are still enemy ships out there." Indeed, the remaining Zarkeli vessels seemed to be in disarray. Without their flagship, without the ability to communicate with their reserves, their once coordinated attack fell apart. Some ships continued to fight ferociously, while others began to retreat. The human fleet pressed their advantage, methodically taking down the disorganized alien vessels. Hours passed, the battle raging across the space around Earth. Slowly but surely, the tide turned in humanity's favor. More and more Zarkeli ships were disabled or destroyed, while others fled, jumping to faster-than-light speeds to escape the unexpected fury of the human defenders. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the last Zarkeli warship in the system winked out of existence, fleeing the battlefield. An eerie silence fell over the human fleet. For a moment, no one could quite believe it. Then, a single voice broke the quiet. We did it," someone whispered on the Defiance Bridge. "We won." The realization spread like wildfire. Cheers erupted across the fleet, crews celebrating their against-all-odds victory. On Earth, as news of the triumph spread, people poured into the streets, their jubilation echoing around the globe. Admiral Vasquez allowed herself a small smile, but she knew their work wasn't done. "All ships, report status," she ordered. "Begin search and rescue operations for any escape pods, ours or theirs, and someone get me a secure line to Earth Command." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the true cost of their victory became clear. Many human ships had been lost, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice to defend their home. The space around Earth was littered with debris, a grim testament to the ferocity of the battle. But they had won. Humanity had faced its first interstellar threat and emerged victorious. They had been challenged, and they had risen to that challenge in spectacular fashion. In the days that followed, as the cleanup began and the dead were mourned, humanity began to grapple with the implications of their victory. They were no longer alone in the universe, and more importantly, they were no longer helpless. Admiral Vasquez stood before the United Earth Defense Council, delivering her after-action report. "The Zarkeli underestimated us," she concluded. "They saw our relative youth as a spacefaring species and assumed we would be easy prey. Instead, they learned a harsh lesson about human ingenuity and determination." Secretary General Nkrumah nodded gravely. "And what of the Zarkeli? Do you believe they will return?" Vasquez's expression was grim. "We dealt them a significant blow, but the Zarkeli Empire is vast. They will lick their wounds, but I doubt this is the last we've seen of them. More importantly, there may be other threats out there, other alien species who might see us as easy targets." "Then what do you suggest, Admiral?" Vasquez stood tall, her voice firm with conviction. "We must build on this victory, expand our fleet, continue to advance our technology. We've proven that humanity can stand against the threats of the galaxy. Now we must ensure we're ready to do so again, whenever and wherever we're challenged." The council chamber was quiet as the implications of her words sank in. Humanity had won a great victory, but the battle for their place among the stars was far from over. As the meeting adjourned, Vasquez looked out a window at the Earth below. The planet seemed somehow smaller now, more fragile, yet at the same time, more precious than ever. They had faced their first great test as a united species and triumphed. But Vasquez knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. Humanity had taken its first steps onto a much larger stage. The warning had been given, and humanity had proven its worth. Never challenge human warships. It was a lesson the galaxy would not soon forget. The news of humanity's victory over the Zarkeli spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the great halls of the Galactic Concordat, the loose alliance of spacefaring civilizations, the atmosphere was one of shock and disbelief. How could a young, seemingly primitive species have defeated one of the most powerful military forces in known space? On the planet Sorthel, homeworld of the reptilian Saurians, the Concordat's ruling council convened an emergency session. Representatives from a dozen major species gathered in the ancient Chamber of Stars, their forms illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays showing the aftermath of the Earth-Zarkeli conflict. High Chancellor Sith, the eldest of the Saurian leaders, called the meeting to order. His scaled form seemed to shimmer in the chamber's ethereal light as he addressed the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice a low hiss, "we face an unprecedented situation. The Zarkeli Empire, long a dominant force in our quadrant, has suffered a devastating defeat at the hands of a species previously deemed insignificant. We must decide how to respond to this shifting of the cosmic scales." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Orcs, the avian representative of the airy worlds, ruffled his feathers in agitation. "How can we be certain of these reports? Surely there must be some mistake. No primitive species could stand against the Zarkeli war machine." "I assure you, the reports are accurate," came a new voice. All eyes turned to Zinra, the Zarkeli representative. Her usual air of superiority was gone, replaced by a barely concealed mix of shame and fear. "Our fleet was decimated. The humans, they were unlike anything we've encountered before. Their technology, their tactics, they were unprecedented." The chamber erupted into chaos. Various representatives shouted questions and accusations, the carefully maintained decorum of the Concordat crumbling in the face of this shocking news. High Chancellor Sith raised a clawed hand, calling for silence. "We must approach this rationally," he insisted. "Zinra, please elaborate. How exactly did this human species defeat your forces?" Zinra's multifaceted eyes seemed to dim as she recounted the battle. She spoke of impossible advancements in human technology, of tactics that defied conventional warfare, of a unity and determination that had caught the Zarkeli completely off guard. As she finished her account, a heavy silence fell over the chamber. It was broken by Gowron, the silicon-based representative of the crystalline consortium. His voice resonated with harmonic overtones as he spoke. "We have underestimated these humans," Gowron observed. "Perhaps dangerously so. If they could defeat the Zarkeli, what else might they be capable of? We must reassess our stance towards Earth immediately." Erex bobbed his head in agitation. "Reassess? We should be mobilizing our fleets. If these humans are so formidable, they could be a threat to us all." "Calm yourself, Erex," Sith chided. "Rash action is what led to this situation in the first place. We need more information before we can decide on a course of action." As the debate raged on, in another part of the galaxy, the remnants of the Zarkeli fleet limped home. Admiral Krell, now the highest-ranking survivor of the Earth campaign, stood before the Zarkeli imperial court. The vast chamber, usually a place of pomp and ceremony, was eerily quiet. Empress Zyklax, resplendent in her imperial regalia, glared down at Krell from her elevated throne. "Explain yourself, Admiral," she demanded, her voice cold with fury. "How did you allow this disgrace to befall our empire?" Krell steeled himself, knowing his life hung by a thread. "Your Imperial Majesty, we underestimated the humans. Gravely so. Their technological advancement, their tactical ingenuity, it was beyond anything our intelligence suggested." "You mean to tell me," the Empress hissed, "that a species we considered primitive managed to defeat our finest fleet? That these humans made fools of the Zarkeli Empire?" Krell could only nod, bracing himself for the Empress's wrath. But instead of the expected outburst, Zyklax grew quiet, her expression thoughtful. "Perhaps," she mused, almost to herself, "we have been looking at this the wrong way." She turned her piercing gaze back to Krell. "Tell me, Admiral, in your assessment, what makes these humans so formidable?" Krell considered his words carefully. "Their adaptability, Your Majesty. In the span of time it took our fleet to reach their world, they had made advancements that should have taken decades. They united in the face of our threat, setting aside their internal conflicts. And their resolve. I've never seen anything like it." The Empress nodded slowly. "Interesting. Very interesting indeed." She rose from her throne, addressing the entire court. "We have suffered a great defeat, but in that defeat lies opportunity. These humans have proven themselves worthy adversaries. Perhaps they could be worthy allies as well." Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Krell looked up in shock. "Your Majesty." Ziklax's eyes gleamed with a new purpose. "Prepare a diplomatic envoy, Admiral. It's time we approached the humans on more equal terms." As the Zarkali Empire grappled with its new reality, Earth was undergoing a transformation of its own. The victory over the alien invaders had catapulted humanity into a new era. The world was united as never before, with the remnants of old national rivalries fading in the face of their shared triumph. In Geneva, the headquarters of the United Earth government buzzed with activity. Secretary General Nkrumah stood before a bank of screens, each displaying the feed from a different human colony or outpost. The loss of New Horizon had been a harsh blow, but humanity's reach was expanding rapidly. "The Zarkali threat has been neutralized for now," Nkrumah addressed the assembled leaders, "but we must remain vigilant. Our victory has undoubtedly drawn the attention of other alien civilizations. We must be prepared for whatever comes next." Admiral Helena Vasquez, newly promoted to Fleet Admiral and head of Earth's growing space forces, stepped forward. "Our shipyards are working at full capacity," she reported. "The advancements we made during the Zarkali conflict are being incorporated into a new generation of ships. We'll be ready if anyone else decides to test us." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, now heading Earth's premier research institute for xenotechnology, added her own report. "We've made significant progress in understanding the Zarkali technology salvaged from the battle. Their FTL drive, in particular, could revolutionize our own faster-than-light travel capabilities." As the meeting continued, a priority alert suddenly flashed across the main screen. The room fell silent as Nkrumah opened the message. His eyes widened as he read its contents. "It appears," he said slowly, "that we've received a transmission from the Galactic Concordat." The implications weren't lost on anyone in the room. Humanity was being acknowledged by the wider galactic community. Their victory over the Zarkali had put Earth on the interstellar map. The message was an invitation. The Concordat was requesting that Earth send representatives to Exorthal to discuss humanity's place in the galactic order. It was an opportunity and a challenge. Nkrumah looked around the room, meeting the eyes of Earth's leaders. "Well," he said, a hint of a smile on his face, "it seems the galaxy has taken notice. The question is, how do we respond?" Admiral Vasquez's expression was grim. "Cautiously," she advised. "We've proven we can defend ourselves, but we're still newcomers on the galactic stage. We need to project strength, but not aggression." Dr. Tanaka nodded in agreement. "This is a chance to learn, to establish diplomatic ties. But we must be wary. Not every species out there will be as straightforward in their intentions as the Zarkali were." Discussions raged for hours. Should Earth accept the invitation? If so, who should go? How should humanity present itself to the galactic community? Finally, a decision was reached. Earth would accept the Concordat's invitation. A delegation would be sent, a carefully chosen mix of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel. They would represent the best of humanity, showcasing both their newfound strength and their desire for peaceful coexistence. As preparations for the diplomatic mission began, Earth buzzed with excitement and apprehension. Humanity was about to step onto the galactic stage in earnest. They had proven they could defend themselves. Now they had to prove they could be part of something greater. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other forces were stirring. In the shadows between the stars, ancient eyes watched the unfolding events with great interest. Humanity's defiance of the Zarkali had upset the careful balance of power that had existed for millennia. Some saw this as a threat, others as an opportunity. On a distant world, hidden from the prying eyes of the Concordat, a cloaked figure stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way. Red markers indicated points of interest, with Earth glowing brightly at the center. "So," the figure mused, its voice a low, metallic rasp, "the game has changed. These humans, they may be the key we've been waiting for." A subordinate materialized from the shadows. "Your orders, Overseer." The cloaked figure was silent for a moment, contemplating. Then, watch them. Closely. These humans have proven themselves. Interesting. When the time is right, we will make our move. As the subordinate bowed and retreated, the overseer turned back to the galactic display. Earth continued to glow, a beacon of potential in the vast cosmic sea. The overseer's hidden eyes narrowed. "Welcome to the grand game, humanity," it whispered. "You've survived your first test. Let's see how you handle what comes next." Back on Earth, blissfully unaware of the machinations occurring across the galaxy, humanity continued its preparations. Ships were readied, diplomats briefed, strategies formulated. They had taken their first steps into a larger universe, and there would be no turning back. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now beckoned. Humanity had claimed its place among them, born in fire and tested by alien aggression. They had been warned never to challenge human warships. Now, the galaxy would learn what it truly meant to have humanity as a player on the cosmic stage. As Earth's diplomatic mission prepared to depart for Torfel, Admiral Vasquez stood in the observation deck of the newly christened EDS Horizon, named in honor of the colony they had failed to save. She looked out at the stars, her expression a mix of determination and wonder. "We're ready," she murmured to herself. "Whatever's out there, whatever challenges we face, we're ready." The Horizon's engines hummed to life, and with a flash of light, the ship disappeared into the depths of space, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire species. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The EDS Horizon dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Xorthal system, its sleek form a testament to human engineering and determination. On the bridge, Admiral Helena Vasquez stood with Earth's diplomatic team, led by Ambassador Sophia Chen. The view of the alien star system spread out before them, a dazzling array of planets orbiting a blue-white sun. "Quite a sight," Vasquez murmured, her eyes scanning the sensor readouts. "Multiple inhabited worlds, space stations. Their level of development is impressive." Ambassador Chen nodded, her expression a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Indeed. And now we're here to make our mark on this galactic stage. Are we ready for this, Admiral?" Vasquez turned to Chen, her gaze steady and confident. "Ready or not, Ambassador, the galaxy has called. It's time for humanity to answer." As the Horizon approached Xorthal, they were met by an escort of Saurian vessels. The alien ships were a curious blend of organic shapes and advanced technology, their hulls shimmering with an almost scale-like iridescence. A transmission came through, translated by the Horizon's advanced Earth vessel. "This is Commander Zix of the Xorthal Defense Fleet. Welcome to our system. Please follow our lead to the designated docking station." The journey to the Concordat's Central Space Station was tense but uneventful. As they docked, Vasquez couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, from defending their homeworld to now standing as equals among the stars. The Earth delegation disembarked, stepping onto alien soil for the first time in human history. They were greeted by a diverse group of alien representatives, each species more fantastical than the last. At the forefront stood High Chancellor Sith, his reptilian features impassive as he regarded the humans. "Welcome, representatives of Earth." Sith's voice was a low hiss, but the universal translators rendered it clearly. "Your presence here marks a historic moment for the Galactic Concordat. Please, follow me to the Chamber of Stars. The Council awaits." As they walked through the sprawling space station, the human delegation couldn't help but marvel at the sheer diversity of life around them. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved about their business, some paying curious glances to the newcomers, others seemingly indifferent to their presence. The Chamber of Stars lived up to its name. As they entered, the humans found themselves in a vast, circular room, its domed ceiling a perfect representation of the galaxy. Holographic stars twinkled above, with major worlds and territories highlighted in various colors. The Concordat representatives took their seats, with the Earth delegation given a place of honor near the center. High Chancellor Sith called the session to order, his voice resonating through the chamber. Esteemed colleagues, today we welcome a new player onto the galactic stage. The humans of Earth have proven themselves a force to be reckoned with, defeating the Zarkeli Empire against all odds. Now they come before us to take their place among the stars. Ambassador Chen stepped forward, her voice steady as she addressed the assembly. Honored representatives of the Galactic Concordat, I bring greetings from Earth. We come in peace, seeking friendship and cooperation. Our victory over the Zarkeli was not sought out of aggression, but out of necessity. We defended our home, as any of you would. Now, we hope to turn that strength towards more constructive ends. A murmur ran through the chamber. Rex, the avian representative, ruffled his feathers as he spoke. Pretty words, human, but actions speak louder. Your species has shown a remarkable capacity for violence. How can we be sure you won't turn that violence against the rest of us? Chen's response was calm but firm. With respect, honored Rex, it was not humanity that struck the first blow. We were attacked, threatened with subjugation. We defended ourselves, nothing more. We have no desire for conquest or domination. We seek only to secure our place among the stars and to contribute to the greater galactic community. Galrin of the Crystalline Consortium chimed in, his voice a harmonic resonance. The humans speak truly. Our observations indicate that they have not expanded aggressively since their victory. Their focus has been on fortifying their existing territories and advancing their technology. These are not the actions of a conquering species. The debate raged on for hours. Some representatives voiced support for humanity's inclusion in the Concordat, while others expressed skepticism or outright hostility. Through it all, the Earth delegation stood firm, answering questions and addressing concerns with a mix of diplomacy and quiet strength. As the session neared its end, a surprise attendee made their presence known. Empress Liklax of the Zarkeli Empire stepped forward, her regal bearing commanding immediate attention. Esteemed colleagues, she began, her voice carrying a note of humility that shocked many in the chamber. The Zarkeli Empire wishes to formally apologize for our unwarranted aggression against Earth. We grossly underestimated the humans, and in doing so, nearly brought ruin upon ourselves. She turned to face the Earth delegation directly. Humans of Earth, we extend an offer of peace. Our empires have much to learn from each other. We hope that in time, the wounds of our conflict can heal, and we can forge a new relationship based on mutual respect and cooperation. The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the Earth representatives. Admiral Vasquez and Ambassador Chen exchanged a glance, years of military and diplomatic experience allowing them to communicate volumes in a single look. Chen stepped forward, her voice clear and resolute. Empress Zyklax, we accept your apology and your offer of peace. Earth has no desire for continued conflict. We look forward to building a new relationship with the Zarkeli Empire, and indeed with all species represented here. The tension in the chamber seemed to ease, replaced by a cautious optimism. High Chancellor Sith raised his clawed hands, calling for attention. We have heard much today, he declared. The humans have proven themselves in battle, and now they have shown wisdom in peace. I propose that we grant Earth provisional membership in the Galactic Concordat, with a probationary period of 1 standard galactic cycle. All in favor. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Earth was officially welcomed into the galactic community, albeit on a provisional basis. As the session adjourned, representatives from various species approached the Earth delegation, eager to establish initial diplomatic contacts. In the days that followed, the Earth delegation engaged in a whirlwind of meetings and negotiations. Trade agreements were discussed, cultural exchanges proposed, and the foundations of interstellar alliances were laid. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. As news of Earth's inclusion in the Concordat spread, Not everyone was pleased. Reports came in of isolated attacks on human outposts by unknown aggressors. Some speculated that these were the actions of disgruntled Zarkeli splinter groups, while others feared a new hidden threat. On the fringes of known space, the cloaked figure of the Overseer watched the unfolding events with growing interest. The humans continue to exceed expectations. It mused to its subordinates. Their inclusion in the Concordat changes everything. Accelerate our plans. The time to reveal ourselves may come sooner than anticipated. Back on Earth, the atmosphere was one of cautious celebration. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, but with this new status came new responsibilities and dangers. The United Earth government worked tirelessly to prepare for the challenges ahead. In orbit, the shipyards worked around the clock, producing a new generation of vessels designed for both exploration and defense. Dr. Tanaka and her team made breakthrough after breakthrough, integrating alien technologies with human ingenuity to push the boundaries of what was possible. Admiral Vasquez, upon returning from Torthal, found herself promoted to the newly created position of Supreme Commander of Earth's interstellar forces. As she stood in the war room of Earth's new space-based military headquarters, she couldn't help but feel the weight of her responsibility. Status report, she commanded, looking at the holographic display of known space. Her aide, a young lieutenant, stepped forward. "Ma'am, our deep space monitoring stations have detected unusual activity in several sectors. We're also getting reports of increased pirate activity along our trade routes." Vasquez nodded grimly. "Increase patrols along the affected routes, and dispatch scout ships to investigate those anomalies. I want to know what we're dealing with." As Earth extended its reach further into the cosmos, new colonies were established, each one a testament to humanity's determination to claim its place among the stars. But with expansion came conflict. Border disputes with neighboring species became common, requiring a delicate balance of diplomacy and show of force. In the galactic Concordat, Earth's representatives quickly gained a reputation for innovative problem-solving and decisive action. When a long-standing dispute between the Airy Worlds and the Crystalline Consortium threatened to erupt into open warfare, it was Earth's delegation that proposed a novel solution, earning the respect of both parties. But shadows loomed on the horizon. Strange anomalies were detected on the edges of known space, defying explanation. Ancient ruins were discovered on distant worlds, hinting at a long-lost civilization of immense power. And always, there were whispers of a hidden force manipulating events from behind the scenes. As Earth approached the end of its probationary period in the Concordat, tensions began to rise. Some members argued that humanity had proven itself a valuable addition to the galactic community. Others pointed to Earth's rapidly growing military and expanding sphere of influence as cause for concern. In a closed-door session of the Concordat's Inner Council, High Chancellor Sith addressed these concerns. "The humans have brought great change to our galactic order," he acknowledged. "Some fear this change, but I see opportunity. They have reinvigorated our stagnant societies, challenged our preconceptions. Yes, they are different, but perhaps that is exactly what we need." The debate raged on, but in the end, the decision was made. Earth's probationary status would be lifted, granting them full membership in the Galactic Concordat. As news of the decision reached Earth, celebrations erupted across the planet and its colonies. Humanity had truly arrived on the galactic stage. But for those in power, the celebrations were tempered by the knowledge of the challenges that lay ahead. In her office atop the United Earth Government headquarters, Secretary General Nkrumah looked out at the bustling metropolis below. The city had changed dramatically in the years since the Zarkeli attack, alien influences evident in its architecture and technology. It was a symbol of how far humanity had come and how much had changed. A chime announced the arrival of Admiral Vasquez and Ambassador Chen. As they entered, Nkrumah turned to face them, his expression serious. "Well," he said, "we've done it. Full membership in the Concordat. We should be celebrating." Vasquez nodded, her face grim. "But you've seen the reports. Indeed, Nkrumah sighed. The anomalies, the ancient ruins, the hidden threats. It seems our greatest challenges may still lie ahead. Chen stepped forward, her voice filled with determination. But we'll face them together. Humanity has proven itself time and again. Whatever comes next, we'll be ready. Nkrumah smiled, feeling the surge of pride in how far they had come. Indeed we will. We were warned never to challenge human warships. Now the galaxy knows why. But we've shown we can be more than just warriors. We can be diplomats, innovators, problem solvers. We've claimed our place among the stars. Now it's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. As night fell over Earth, its citizens looked up at the stars with a new perspective. Those distant points of light were no longer unreachable. They were beacons of possibility, each one a potential new home, a new adventure, a new challenge to overcome. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But one thing was clear: the human spirit, tested by fire and tempered by the vastness of space, was ready for whatever the cosmos might throw at it. The age of Earth had dawned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.